I'm just going to give a quick content warning before. I printed my speech with red text on this, but it decided to come out in faint yellow, so that's a shame. My content warning is that there will be a brief discussion of suicide, self-harm, and historical atrocities. My name is Joshua. I'm a university student, youth parliamentarian, board member, and disability advocate. I am 19 years old. When I was 10 years old, I was suicidal. Every day through school was a battle. When I was 11 years old, I was diagnosed with autism at levels 2 and 3 and started on the NDIS. The NDIS was a big part of what brought me from that dark place as a young kid to where I am now. I've built functional capacity because of the scheme and built independence. Without it, I can promise you I would not be speaking here right now. I'm an example of how the NDIS works to, when it works well, improve disabled people's lives as we deserve. No child should self-harm or feel suicidal just because of who they are and how their specific brain interacts with the world around them. That was my world before the NDIS when I was 10 years old. It will too be the world of every autistic kid removed or denied access to the NDIS because of this bill. Some of these kids who I mention are not even born yet. What has this committee seen? We've sent over 4,500 written submissions to the bill in under 2 weeks, and I wonder if there's even more of a handful of submissions in favour of this bill. There have been 7,000 parliamentary petition signatures rejecting key parts of this bill and close to 25,000 signatures on another petition announcing this bill. There have been thousands of people pouring their hearts and souls out to this committee and everyone in Parliament, condemning this bill and all it would do, speaking about how every single part of this bill will hurt us, will kill us, and will send this whole country back by decades on disability rights. Senators, did you imagine when you got into politics that you would be on a committee responsible for listening to thousands of disabled people telling you about how the bill you were scrutinising would be kicking them off the NDIS and killing them? Chair, I do wonder, did you imagine that your party might tell you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears and recommend that this bill be passed? I'd ask that people think about how many people in my community will die if this passes, when this committee makes their recommendations and when the Senate votes. This bill is written without regard to its impact on disabled people. The idea is just to save money. Never look anywhere beyond the dollar figure. Never think about the cost in suffering and in human lives. Never think about how people could have had incredible lives but are now denied that under this bill. The result of this thought process from government is that the bill kicks or denies 300,000 plus disabled people from the scheme. If we want to talk about economics, I'd like to do that as well. Reports say that the NDIS returns $2.25 for every $1 invested. However, this is wrong. The real economic benefit of this scheme is incalculably higher. A $2.25 return for every $1 invested does not account for people like me and many others like me whose capacity is built by the NDIS. Because I was on the NDIS, I've grown up to be an ambitious and productive citizen, one who will contribute in taxes, graduate university, hopefully, and become a highly active member of the community. Thinking that the NDIS is a financial drain is factually wrong. It is an economic benefit to our entire country, and we receive those benefits now. However, they would be cut if this bill were to go ahead. I urge the government, like Lee, I believe your name was, to conduct an economic cost-benefit analysis on the net benefit of the scheme, because we haven't seen anything like that yet. I'd now like to talk about history and what we can learn from it. In 1939, the Nazi Party in Germany began their program of genocide against disabled people. This specific program was called Action T4. One of the principal justifications used before its implementation was that the country could not afford the schemes that helped support disabled citizens. We now hear the same message of financial burden. We hear the same factually incorrect justification used to attack my community, my friends, my family. Not in 1939 Germany, but in 2026, modern Australia, the same tactics, the same justifications. The right to life is the most important human right of all, and that bill takes that right away from us. I'd now like to address specific parts of the bill. On informal supports, it is unfair that those removed from the scheme, their health and well-being will depend on the quality of informal supports that they have been provided. That people may go into the public health system, the welfare system, or the justice system based largely if a parent or guardian can even afford to reduce their working hours or quit their jobs to become carers full-time or part-time. On functional capacity assessments, as has been noted before, many disabilities are variable and dynamic. If a functional capacity assessment captures someone on a day where they appear they appear to have lower support needs than they generally do, it will lead to that person being under-supported, possibly chronically and critically, possibly for months or years. On thriving kids, I think the best thing to do here is look at the numbers. 37.8 billion is going to be cut from the NDIS under this bill, and what's its replacement? A $2 billion joint funding agreement with each state. Now, I will note some of these states haven't even accepted this funding agreement yet. This scheme of thriving kids has not even been properly designed yet, let alone have the necessary co-design with the community. Thriving kids is like if participants are being asked to jump from a diving board into a metaphorical pool with the vague promise that the pool will be filled up with water as they jump down. We promise, guys. Now, I'd like to say that this bill, I don't believe it's inevitable. Nobody, politician, disabled person, or carer should believe that for even a second. It can be shelved, and it must be shelved. If it is not, then there will be future disabled kids out there who were just like 10-year-old me, a kid who does not receive the support that they deserved, a child who self-harmed, a son or daughter who commits suicide. This bill must not pass.